Hey, did something like that.
Yeah, I sent a pair of long underwear there 6 months after I was done working there, and I lost a pair of long underwear. Also, I started recording halfway through your story, Magic. So, welcome to the boardroom, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host and CEO, Bagelmode. If everything has gone according to plan, you, the viewer, will be seeing that we are in a new visual format to accommodate the fact that we now have 5 people on the boardroom. Our newest member is an intern, RedLeader. RedLeader has not changed his name to be intern yet. He's going to have to do that because I can't. Now that I'm recording. But yeah. To this week on the show, it's 8/20/2020. Ooh, that's a fun one to say. And the big topic this week is going to be Epic versus Apple. And with that, Motorboat, what have you been playing this week, and why is it League of Legends, Celeste, and Valorant all together?
It was actually only League of Legends this week because I had very little time after work and I just want to get that grind on, you know?
So you decide that the best way to spend your time is to punish yourself repeatedly after work. Gotcha.
Yes, that's exactly what happens. Until I hit Diamond, that's probably what it's going to be after work mostly. So we're almost back to Plat 1. Not quite there yet, but we're getting close. After that, maybe we'll play more Celeste. Oh, and we might start streaming this week, so we'll see if that happens.
Of course, you should drop a link to the latest Boardroom podcast, and
Yeah. It'll be in the stream description.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to link your stream, which I'm pretty sure is your first and last name. But I tried, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I'm changing up usernames and stuff.
Ooh, wow. I like how me putting together a crappy podcast for like 6 weeks in a row has made you change your usernames.
Yeah, my username for like 6 years.
Weren't you Poplio for a while, too?
I mean, in this server, yes, but not in League. I've been the same name for probably 5-6 years at this point.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add about what you've been doing this week? Just work?
It's not very interesting. I work 12-hour days, so there's not much time.
Man, dang, dude. Like, that's a tad bit excessive.
I mean,
interim Red. God dang it. Interim Red, what have you been playing this week?
That would be me. Well, I just got back a couple of days ago from a long-term trip that I had a lot of fun on. I've been playing a couple of things, mostly testing out my new Switch, which is always nice. I've been playing some Pokemon on that. So, it's going all right.
Which Pokemon?
It's going to be Pokemon Shield.
Okay.
Would have gotten Sword, but my friend already had Sword, so I figured I might as well go Shield. Realized later it was a massive mistake because my friend's never going to trade me as Legendary in that game. It's so I've been playing some of that. Also have been playing a little bit of Dragon Age Inquisition, mixing that up. I realized when I packed my Xbox up and shipped it home, I shipped it also with a big bag full of change, and because of the lovely postal service that manhandled the box, the change is now spilled everywhere, and now if I shake my Xbox, it rattles a bit.
Oh my gosh, Why are you shipping home your change?
Because I'm cheap, and I didn't want other people to have it.
So wait. Change is literally just piles of metal. It is probably the heaviest thing you could ship per, volume.
Correct.
How much change are we talking here? Are we talking, just a little bit of pocket change? Or...
No, we're talking, $5-10.
Oh my god.
Well, $5-10 can vary in the weight based on what kind of change. Like, if you're going all quarters, all dimes kind of thing.
All pennies.
But no, still, that is just, even with, average change. Even if, $2 is quarters, that's still pretty heavy to be shipping. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man.
I had a bag of change. I needed to get rid of it. I could either go in my carry-on bag, or I could go in with all the other stuff I was shipping home. It was just it was a spur-of-the-moment thing.
Oh, man.
You know, when you're in the heat of the moment shipping things home, you don't really think things through.
Well, I mean, you don't.
Well, I never think things through. Things just it was there. I threw it in the box, and now I have change in my Xbox, which is a shame. I've been playing obviously some Total War, Warhammer, always a classic. Realized while I was on my extended vacation, it is now my #1 most played game on Steam,
Ooh.
Really?
which
Ugh.
surpasses, I think it's what, 338 hours now, which finally beat out Civ 5.
Man. Those are rookie numbers. Gotta get those numbers up.
I know,
Well,
right?
we can't all play
having-
adventure captains.
Imagine not having 400 hours in a game.
Imagine how much better your life would be if you weren't sinking the same amount of time most of us were into our games.
I like to divide it up a bit, and then lastly, I've been really trying to get Stardew Valley to work. Trying to do a playthrough with some mods, but unfortunately, Nexus isn't working for me. So, or more specifically, Vortex isn't watching Stardew Valley. So I have to either I have to install the mods manually, or I have to figure out why Vortex is not working.
That's a pretty big F.
You could say that. It's been an eventful couple of days. It's been 6 days now, and I'm enjoying the living hell out of it.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'm sure I'll think of more, but we can move along.
All right. Let's jump on to Magic.
Yes, I've been playing more of Dinosaur King. I
Alright.
have not played enough to get further in the story, but I have played enough that I have some statements to make.
Oh,
Have
boy.
you seen Zoe again?
I have not played far enough to see Zoe again. All right.
Oh, gotta get on that. Come on.
I have to go to the next area to see Zoe again, probably. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, her dinosaur has not gotten stolen yet, so I actually probably should. That's probably gonna be coming up soon. One of the things that I've noticed is that the game does not do a great job of defining status conditions.
Oh.
So, most moves have like 3 lines of text in the move description, and it's typically blank, just like generic description of what the move is like when it hits. So like it's an all-out attack, or launches the enemy high up in the air, or spins them around a bunch, or stuff like that. And then it's like, does this, where this could be something like increases your attack by 20%. Or it could be something like where the status ones are, which is induces pressure. And then the final thing is like what multiplier it adds to the corresponding rock, paper, scissors attribute, the base damage in terms of what damage it actually does. So it's like 1.5 times the damage, for instance, would be 1.5 times, let's say, scissors damage. The problem is that it does not say what pressure does, for instance, that instant, until you hit with it. So attributes, or sorry, so status conditions only say what they do when they successfully trigger. Meaning, if you're a new person who's never run into a certain status condition before, you're not quite sure what something like burn does, or something like pressure, or anything like that would do. You have to wait for typically the first time you run into it, like the 30% chance it fires, you have to wait for that 30% chance. Meaning you're just flailing around using that move until you figure out what it does. On the one hand, it's great that every time it goes off, it says what it does. On the other hand, it really makes it hard to figure out, like, should I have this move at all, if you don't know what it does until you get it to work.
Are you move limited? Can you swap moves in and out? at will, or is it like Pokemon where you're stuck with just the 3 in this case 4?
You're stuck with moves inside combat. So outside of combat, you can swap them at random, but inside combat, you are stuck with them.
Wait, swap them at random or at will?
At will.
Okay. I was like, holy crap! You just have to gamble that you're getting the right stuff.
At any moment outside of combat, you can swap them. It's just going into the menu and selecting reorder moves.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's difficult to tell what moves do when you're in the menu if it does a status condition. Everything else, I actually think that it describes the moves fine. It's just that I hate that status conditions, just don't have a description. However, I also realize that it gives them a little bit more freedom in creating status conditions because they don't have to have a list of status conditions. It could be like they have like a million different types of status conditions and each move does a separate one. I know that to be false. There are some overlaps, but there also are a lot of unique status conditions, like preventing other opponents from switching their dinosaurs during that fight, for instance. It's just I wish that there was some way to figure out what the moves did completely if they had a status condition without having to use them in a fight.
Gotcha. Alright, playing anything else this week? Anything more to add?
I've been playing EU4, but everything is Elder Scrolls.
What?
EU4, but everything takes place in the world of Elder Scrolls. So, it's basically what the name suggests. The only thing I have that's a real gripe about that is that it was programmed poorly in the fact that the mod creators forgot to give everybody legitimacy, which is basically how legitimate your dynasty is the official use for that mechanic. But they forgot to program that for every nation that doesn't start with a monarchy, which means that you can get civil wars as a republic, for instance, where there's no way to stop the civil war from happening because you cannot increase your legitimacy because you're not a monarchy. So the only way to solve that is through cheating, or switching to a monarchy somehow.
Do you get to play in Elder Scrolls map, or are you just playing the world map with Elder Scrolls names?
It's in the Elder Scrolls map.
Okay.
And with practically every city as its own nation, because that's just how it is, where it's like loosely associated with each other. And as time goes on, you can fortify things like unite all of Skyrim as a single nation, for instance, and all that.
Gotcha. So have you united all of Skyrim
It takes
yet?
place. Have I united all of Skyrim? Why would I play in Skyrim?
The real question I was going to ask is which place are you playing as?
I'm playing as currently this one city that at the time period where I started at is occupied completely by minotaurs, and my mission is to unite the empire and create the empire. But instead of elves and humans, it's minotaurs.
The heck?
Oh boy.
You should do a playthrough as the NCR next.
Sorry, what?
Not even funny.
Wrong game?
That's the joke.
I scared to see if that's actually no. I know for a fact that that's a thing. And
Was it you? Hang on, someone was playing. Was that you, RedLeader, where you were playing like EU, or was it Hearts of Iron 4 as Fallout?
Yes, but there's also a Fallout EU4.
Oh, of course there is.
I believe it. There's an everything for EU4.
The only thing they don't have is good support for making sure the game doesn't crash.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I'd like to take that back, but you're not wrong.
As someone who's never played the game. All right. Anything more?
That is the hot takes that I have for the moment that we have time for.
We have plenty of time. Like, we're only 15 minutes into this episode.
No, we don't. We have no time. We gotta go. On to news.
The amount of time I think we'll be spending on the Fortnite controversy is probably going to make up for it. So.
All right. In that case, Melly, what's up?
Oh God! Please never say that again.
What?
Just the way you said that, I just hated the way you said that.
Okay.
Speaking
He's
of
trying to
Elder
be
Scrolls
positive
4 and
outlook
Fallout
on it.
4, I've been playing Skyrim and Fallout 4. But I've also been playing Ark, so, you know, that's different. It's cool. It's fun. I love Ark. Great game. Hate the graphics. They absolutely suck.
I love the
feature,
loading
go.
times too, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I took 2 recordings of me from the moment I, like, clicked on the icon on my desktop to the time I was able to actually play in a single-player game, totally on my own, was 7 minutes and 13 seconds, and then 7 minutes exactly. So
this footage will not be used for the boardroom, because I
Yeah,
think
no.
anyone watching will die of boredom.
no, and then I actually sent Bagel a clip that's when I load up. It might be the computer that I'm using because Bagel gave me a computer.
That's not at all what happened. You purchased a
But
rather
yeah,
poor computer from me.
Graphics are no good, like at all. But I have never been able to play it with good graphics because the graphics are weird. I shouldn't say they're not good because they have the ability to be good. They're just weird in how they I don't want to say like render, but like
Yeah, it's render.
okay. Yeah, it's a great game. I love it. I'm playing it the exact same way I played Minecraft because it does have a story, it does have an ending, but all I do is run around and build stuff and die and run around and build stuff and die. But in Ark, I get to tame dinosaurs and ride dinosaurs and kill other dinosaurs. So that's fun.
Favorite extinct creature in Ark?
To tame, I would say probably the dire wolf, just because it's A, super easy, B, I love wolves, and C, you don't need a saddle to ride them. And they're super fast, and they have a secondary ability that lets you see, like, it sniffs out basically where either corpses of dinosaurs or if, like, a carnivore is attacking another creature, you can see the health of both of the creatures that have taken damage, and so if you want to, you can run in and help the creature that's being attacked, or you can wait till the carnivore kills it, kill the carnivore, and then you get to loot 2 bodies for hide and meat and potentially other resources.
So it lets you be more of an a-hole?
No. Lets you be a scavenger and lets you survive better and build better stuff.
Say if we were to like, it's kind of like a bear, you know, like one of the best animals on Earth. They're scavengers.
Now, does that work in combat with other players on servers, where you can see the health of all that's damaged?
No clue, because I don't play with other people, because I hate playing with other people in Ark. Because, you know, they break my stuff, and it makes me not happy.
Sounds like you need to be allied with a clan. Come join the boardroom clan. We're 3 members strong on a single Ark server. No, we're not.
No, we're not. That's a lie. Stop lying to people, Bagel.
Anything else other than just Ark and touching on Fallout?
Not really. I would say no. I mean, playing Skyrim is good, because I'm playing with mods now, so it actually looks kind of decent, and the mods change a couple of, like, one basically just gives it more greenery and trees and, like, grass and stuff like that, across basically the entire map, and then the other one changes like the little villages and towns and stuff. So I just like it just because like I've played Skyrim on Xbox and PlayStation, and now playing it on PC. Just having those little changes is always like a good way to make a game that you've played multiple times before fresh and new. So, you know.
Yep, as someone who sunk 600 hours into XCOM 2, I know that feeling.
I'm still disappointed at you for that.
No, you should not be disappointed. I have to break 1,000 hours. We'll see if XCOM 3, when it launches, if it's any good. Who knows, I might pour my life into that. Speaking of pouring my life into things, this week I poured my life into some Risk of Rain 2 some more. They fixed it so that, you know, you don't get soft locked if you don't have mobility items. But they didn't fix the final boss. So I got to the final boss, and one of the things he does is he steals all your items. And you have to damage him in order to get your items back. But he had an item that made it so anytime he took damage, 2 seconds later, he would heal, like, 15% of his health back, because that was just one of the items I had on me. So I couldn't damage him to get the items back. And it was just frustrating and awful, and I died, and I'm upset. So yeah. What?
I mean, come on, get good. Like.
Oh my gosh. It's not enjoyable. Played some more Rebel Inc. Escalation. Finally got one of the achievements I was looking for. So happy.
And what achievement was that?
That was the achievement where you're supposed to beat a campaign without ever signing a peace treaty.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Where you
were talking with me when you did that, didn't you?
Yes, because it was.
I just appreciate that, like, in the middle of our conversation, you were just like, "Oh, finally!" It was just like, okay.
It was. I spent like 3 or 4 campaigns trying to get that, and then always like failing on one of the last 2 missions. Yeah. It's good to finally knock out that achievement. I've got another one next that I'm going to hate.
God.
And then finally, I've actually started to play Undertale. I don't want to say much about it other than I've been playing it.
I thought we were all starting that together.
Yeah, we were all supposed to start that together a month and a half ago.
Yeah,
no, nobody ever said a time.
No one said anything about starting it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, start playing the game. If you got time. I will say I would have stopped playing the game if I hadn't been told the game was good. It did not draw me in too much. Yeah.
Just not your type of game, or the game itself?
Record information about it and your feelings as you play through the game.
I know. That's what I'll be doing. But it's just it has not. It didn't. The beginning of the game did not draw me in, and that's the problem with a lot of the good games that I've played, where I will play like for 3 hours in them or so, and I will go, man, I'm not having fun, and I will stop. Like that. Well, you can speak.
Sorry. I will let everyone know I am going. I guess I'll play through the game again, but I will not go with genocide. I do not have the emotional capability to do that.
And I think that's a bit of a spoiler, but oh well. No, so like a lot of the good games I've played, like Half-Life 2, I played a little bit of time into, I walked away from, and then I came back, and now it's one of my favorite games. Spec Ops: The Line was a game I put a little bit of time into, and then I poured my heart and soul into it for like 3 different playthroughs and just absolutely loved it. But something about a lot of the really good games, you just can't. I have a hard time with their openings. Portal 2 is one where it was phenomenal through and through. I did get bored in the middle because it was the middle is a weird, boring section, but that's a whole other story. No. So that's all I've been playing this week. Have we got anything else we'd like to add? Otherwise, we can hop on into the news. Stop playing Elder Scrolls Melly.
No.
So
I thought we agreed, no video games
I've
during the
actually
boardroom.
read the news this time, so I don't have to pay as much attention.
No, you need to pay attention to the discussion. That's the problem. Oh my gosh, this is why you're the intern. All right. Epic files suit against Apple after Fortnite pulled from iOS App Store. So, all right, let's just start with it. Okay, so here's what happened. So, bit of background, all right? Apple and Sony and Microsoft and Google Play and Steam all charge you 30% of all profits. There's a little bit of an asterisk on there.
Steam does too?
Yes, but Steam you can actually get around it through a weird way, but we can talk about that in a second. Where it's 30% of all your money goes straight to the either Microsoft, PlayStation, etc. All right. Steam you can get around it where Steam will let you generate as many keys for the game as you would like, and you can sell them at your own store, and then you can keep all the profits that you make, as opposed to giving 30% for Steam. And I believe that's the only store like that has that kind of exception. Epic, I believe, only takes 20% off of their store, but in general, it's 30. The industry standard is 30%. If you have a digital good, that's how much your publisher, that's how much the owner of the platform makes off of every single one of your purchases. So, Fortnite did a thing where they said, we're going to reduce the price of everything across the board. And they did so. For their traditional PC game. They did it for the Xbox and PlayStation, and then they also did it for their Apple Store. But when they did it through the Apple Store, they gave you a choice. You can pay either through the Apple App Store or you can pay it directly to Epic. They passed on the savings to the consumer though, so it was $2 cheaper. They also did the same for the Google Play Store. So. Apple immediately pulled them from the App Store because of this, because it violates the terms of service. You can't change. You have to go through Apple, and you cannot increase the price of your app or its in-app purchases in response to Apple taking 30%, which is what they're doing here. Less than an hour since Fortnite was removed, Epic did a 61-page lawsuit against Apple. And it referenced the 1984 Macintosh ad that they did, which I posted in voice, and you guys should watch if you haven't already. I will be linking those in the description. They're saying that Apple's a minority. Google did the exact same thing, where they pulled it off of the Google Play Store. It's also worth noting that in the past, Fortnite was not on the Google Play Store because of that 30% cut. But they went 2 years without this before they finally put it back on, just because I don't believe they were getting as many sales as they would like. Epic is ignoring the fact that for both PlayStation and for Xbox, they do the exact same thing, and they're not doing anything there, interestingly enough. Along with this, Epic Games, Spotify, and Sonos are basically all coming together to create their own kind of services union, almost, to try and take down these kinds of monopolies like this. And also, this is a really big one, Apple is going to revoke Epic's dev tools, which means, and including the ones for the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine is insanely popular for thousands of games, and if they pull it, Epic won't be able to keep those tools up to date for Apple, which means that if you are a developer who uses the Unreal Engine, you could lose support and not be able to update your game as iOS updates. So, with that, what is coming to mind with what everyone's saying? The big question here is, are these technically monopolies? That's what everyone's trying to... That's what this lawsuit is going to answer. Yeah. I threw a lot of information. Questions.
All right, I want to first clarify. Apple is not a minority. Apple is a monopoly. That's what you meant.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, Apple is potentially here operating as a monopoly. RedLeader, this is where you're supposed to shout allegedly again and again.
That's what Fortnite said. Sorry, not that Fortnite said that Apple was a minority.
Correct. Yes, no, that was a mistake. My bad. I meant monopoly.
Damn it. Usually I'm on my game with all of your little grammar mistakes. I completely missed that one.
I thought you meant they had I don't want to say it's a minority claim in it or something like that, but that's where I got confused.
No, my bad. Monopoly. Yeah, that's what I meant. So,
I'm confused by what grounds Apple has the ability to revoke. Like, is it just the iOS dev tools?
iOS terms of service states that you cannot get around their practices.
No, what I mean is Apple having the ability to revoke dev tools. Is that just like iOS dev tools, or what?
That is their iOS dev tools. That's their iOS SDK, from what I understand. Where they're basically saying, because you're in violation of our agreements, we are not allowing you to use dev tools. So that is where that's coming from. It's also worth noting that Apple has stated that the second this gets removed from them, they will happily put it back out. It's also worth noting that Apple has given preferential treatment to Amazon, where Amazon only gets 15% of their revenue taken from Apple. So Apple has stated they're just enforcing the rules, despite the fact that in the past they have tried to give certain other
preferential treatment.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm excited to see where this goes, because I unfortunately think that the best way for us to somehow fight the corporations is to have the corporations fight each other. Yeah. Anyone got anything to add?
I'll be honest, when I first started reading the news article, just the way it was titled, I thought that it was like gonna be a anti-Epic thing, because it was saying like, oh, Epic completely ignored the terms of service and they're expecting to get away with this, and I was just like, oh, Epic is super for doing it. And then I started actually reading the thing, and I was just like, oh yeah, I totally agree with Epic at this point.
Yeah, it is very clearly intentional that they were trying to get them pulled from the App Store to file the lawsuit and to put out the trailer and whatnot. This is something they've been planning. It's pretty clear. So.
This is clearly not a reactionary. This was like they knew this was going to happen.
Yep, this seemed calculated.
They wanted it to happen, pretty much.
Yep. So
I fully believe both sides are in the wrong here. It's just that one side, if they win, better things happen for the consumer.
So why do you say that Epic's in the wrong here?
Well, because Epic's looking for a fight and trying to make this happen, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to disagree with you. I think Epic is in the right here to basically try and get basically this revenue cut thing pushed down on a variety of platforms. I see this as a win.
I wouldn't necessarily put it as that they're in the wrong. I would just put it as they could have done it in a more professional, like, obviously.
All right, I don't know if this is allowed here, but I feel like this is a corporate move. I guess the more term that I was looking for.
Yeah.
I think that's an official term.
So basically, what I mean here is that, like, it makes sense to me that the Play Store and the Apple the Apple Store and all that would get a cut out of it. It's of some amount, simply because they're running on that platform, and if they're giving dev tools to like developers, then it would just make sense. However, the amount of money that they're taking from apps and whatnot should be able to be like negotiated or something like that. And I will not fight Epic on saying that Apple is a monopoly. So it's just like the reason that it's happening is silly, but the outcome that could happen out of here is probably best for the consumer, assuming Epic would win.
I don't think it's silly. I think this is them realizing they have enough muscle to kind of push back on these kinds of things. Because I don't think any small developer or whatnot is going to be able to say, hey, Apple's eating 30 cents of my 99-cent app. Can we change something here? Epic has the muscle to do this. That it's one of the things where they've stated that they will get rid of Epic exclusives in the event that Steam drops their revenue taking to 20%, which I find rather interesting. But so I see this as a good thing overall. Yeah. Because they're using this to actually file the lawsuit, because in order to file a lawsuit in the US against something like this, you have to basically show that you are having harm done to you, And just being at 30%, there's no real harm there because that's what everyone's doing and whatnot. But the fact that like you can't sideload apps onto Apple devices like you can Androids, yeah, I think this is going to be interesting. I think this is a step in the right direction, kind of, but we shall see. We shall see. Yeah. Anything else, or do we want to move on?
I feel like everything's kind of been said about it. It's pretty clear we're kind of all in agreement.
I mean, I'm just kind of interested to see how this would work with Apple. Isn't everything in Apple products like compartmentalized?
What do you mean?
Like, one of the signature features of the programming, to my knowledge, was that things were typically more separated from each other than in other OS systems.
Okay, and how does that apply? Sorry.
So how that applies is, would that make it more difficult to download things from other sources outside of an app that allows you to download things from?
You cannot sideload apps from anything else onto your phone other than through jailbroken phones.
No, what I mean is, like, do you have to work around things through the coding itself to do that? Or is that just because Apple says you can't, that you just can't?
I believe you have to work around it, yeah.
Okay.
So. Alright, let's keep on with the Apple topics. In policy reversal, Apple now lets independent repair shops service Macs. You don't have to be a certified repair technician, or what are they called? Yeah. So now you can just repair things. You have to go through a little bit of Apple training, but you can now do Macs when previously you weren't able to do anything, and then they allowed it to go to laptops and phones. But it is still out of warranty products. You cannot do it for in warranty products. Those you still have to go to Apple for. Once again, step in the right direction, but we need a 5K sprint here. So.
I do kind of think that it is kind of crappy that just that last part is they're allowing people, like independent repair shops, to buy like the genuine parts and basically allowing the training is how to fix these, but it's still voiding the warranty if you take it to one of these stores.
So no. You can't get these parts unless it is an out-of-warranty product.
Gotcha.
So if you bought, let's say, the new iPhone SE, okay, you could not get a new iPhone SE, I forget what processor they have, but you can't get one of those. You have to get you can only get it for, like, what's out of warranty? Let's say an iPhone 6. Those you could get batteries for or whatever, but you could not get that. So once again, step in the right direction. I would love it if we could get independent repair shops to do warranty, in-warranty service, but I think that's going to take a legal battle, and I don't think Apple's going to try anything, unfortunately.
Although, technically, with it being out of warranty, you could use non-Apple products to repair an Apple device.
Correct, but you can't do it for certain things. So, like, you could not get an iMac screen from a third party. Those are almost never manufactured. It's stuff like that where you need genuine Apple parts to do certain things. That's the issue here. And now that you can actually get the genuine parts to fit stuff, like the SoCs for the system on a chips, as they're called, for phones and whatnot, you were not able to get those under previous installations of Apple's repair program.
Okay, now so you had to use third party for it, and now you can use official products.
Yes, and before there were some certain things that you could not get third party whatsoever. Yeah. So
am I right to assume the official reasoning for the warranty is they don't want, like, secrets of their products out or some stupid
probably not,
corporate thing?
Because you get teardown guides the second they're seen and sold. I think it is more of Apple is trying to limit how customers can repair their devices. And as we saw with last week's, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, where Apple has internally fought over the repair policy of, does our repair policy work this way? Does it work that way? We don't know. They don't have a clear and consistent guidelines. So, yeah. I think this is them solidifying guidelines and saying, hey, we've been doing it for iPhones and laptops. We might as well do it to Macs. So, yeah. Do we care about Google stops responding to data requests from Hong Kong authorities? I
thought that was pretty cool.
Yep, it's nice to see that. It is very nice to see that. But I think Hong Kong is kind of toast under the new national security laws and the whatnot. Yeah.
I'm sorry, why is it cool?
Because the what Google's doing?
Yeah.
Because previously China could say, hey, who is this person and what are they doing? And now Google will not tell them. Google's not selling you out anymore as they used to, basically, for Hong Kong. That is
sorry. I took it as... Sorry, maybe because I misread it, but I took it as Google was no longer working in Hong Kong. Okay.
No. It is, they will just not... If the Chinese government says, we need this piece of data, Google will not hand it over.
Okay, that was basically the exact opposite of my take that I got when I read it. Okay, that makes sense why. 'Cause I thought it was Google has abandoned Hong Kong.
No,
left.
No.
Okay, that's what I had read it as initially. Okay.
Yep. Let's switch to a happy topic. This smartphone case can crawl up to a wireless charger using tiny robotic legs. Has everyone seen the GIF of it?
So stupid.
It
All
is
right,
so
guys,
dumb.
the robots have taken our phones. What's next?
But
Our
like,
computers.
you know, this is definitely appealing to like some weird rich person where at the end of the night they just literally they drop their phone on the floor, the phone crawls over to its charging pad, and you're good to go. Like,
I'll be honest, it's kind of appealing to me.
it's what?
I said it's pretty appealing to me. I mean, it's just no work. Less work for me. I just drop my phone and it crawls and charges itself. And one less thing to worry about.
So my question is, you say that you can just drop it on the floor. What if it lands the wrong way?
Look, man, I'm just throwing out a pitch as to what it would do. I don't actually know how this thing is going to work, but
Because it only works on one side.
Yeah. I'm just. This is a prototype.
All
This
right.
is not...
But looking at the prototype, they could just as easily add more to the sides.
Another question that I just have looking at this video, because I'm very entertained by this video, by the way, is that how does it determine when it's to be crawling and when it's not? Because if I just have my phone in my pocket and all of a sudden it just starts stabbing me with its tiny legs because it's trying to crawl somewhere, I would be rather concerned.
I'm assuming you have to press a button or something on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, if you have to press a button on it, then you can't do this function to talk about later, where it's like if you lose your phone, it just starts walking to, or you could just call your phone to you.
Yeah. So they do, real quick, they do say that right now it has no brain. It literally just moves forward. So I'm assuming that at this stage that they just have a switch on and off. But in the future, they will probably deck it out with sensors. So if you need something like Roomba to map your home, this is what we've got for you.
I don't know, I just feel like the only use I'd have for it is, oh no, I can't find on what table I've put my phone on. Phone, come to me. And that just does that. That's the only use I think I would have for it.
Let's hop on over to Xbox Series X, price leaked. Once again, stupid name, Series X. $600.
Yeah, I'm
On
fine
money.
with that. Like, I mean, really though, personally, the majority of the past consoles have all been like $500. $600 isn't that much of a big leap.
What did the 360 launches? I think the 360 launch is like $350 or something.
Although you're not thinking about the bigger picture, which is that a lot of Series X stuff is going to be compatible with the the current console, the Xbox One,
Yep.
for a little bit, meaning that it gives a little bit of incentive for people, not just due to the price. Well, actually, not just due to the compatibility, but also due to the price of just waiting for the product to get cheaper.
So I don't know what the difference between the core system price and the regular Xbox 360 price is, but it is listed as $400 for the system price and then $300 for the core system. So I believe core system is just without a controller game? Question mark.
Yeah, it's probably that.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing, if I was a consumer willing to buy the Series X and I knew that the Xbox One would be compatible with a lot of the stuff early on, I would just wait till next Christmas.
Oh yeah. There's no reason to buy this thing. That's Microsoft's
And
kind of
considering my pattern is typically to do that anyway, it's just that now there's just no downside to doing so.
Yep.
I don't miss up on any games. I just get slightly worse graphics. I see no downside.
And it's also worth noting that Phil Spencer of Xbox said Microsoft isn't concerned about selling lots of Xbox Series X units. Stupid name. The plan is to build out the Xbox ecosystem with Xbox Game Pass, xCloud game streaming, cross-generation gaming, and Windows 10 PCs.
So is the purpose then to not have the console be the important part, but just the console to be just like the graphics card that improves every few years?
I think so, and because as Saint Prophet was saying previously, that it is Microsoft appears to be moving more and more towards software instead of.
So basically, the purpose of it would be more to allow you to have more games, maybe, and allow you to play games that look better, and that's just the whole purpose of the console itself.
It's kind of like the Xbox versus the Xbox One X. So, yeah. Our two console players now that we have two of them. Do either of you, you're PlayStation, Melly, but you don't have an Xbox One,
both,
right?
But you know.
What?
What?
What did I say?
I play both consoles.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes.
Are either of you thinking Xbox Series X?
Yeah,
I
probably.
mean, I'm thinking about it, but it's not like most console players. It's not because I'm drawn by the graphics or anything the Xbox Series X involves. It's more the fact that that's where all of my friends are, and we haven't migrated from there to somewhere else. Because unlike some people in the chat, some of us like to play with other people and don't think of gaming as a non-social event.
Hold on while I just block RedLeader.
I was going to say, that's more of a dig at me, I think, because for me, gaming is a very antisocial experience. But that's another story for another time. Let me pitch this to you, RedLeader. So there's the Series S, which is probably not going to have a disk drive. If it was $50 cheaper, would you get that instead of the Series X?
Definitely not right away.
Okay.
But
would you if you had the option between disk drive, no disk drive, let's say no disk drive is $50 cheaper, would you go for no disk drive?
Yeah, I'd go for no disk drive. I feel like it's so much easier to go all digital nowadays.
Gotcha.
Like a disk drive is almost like, I don't know, you'd have to it just makes things so much easier to be just a lazy piece of garbage and just like get everything on your Xbox. It's way easier than like going to GameStop and like, oh, gross, I don't want to go to GameStop. Like anywhere like a Target or anything. And I feel like it's just one more piece of hardware that could fail. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like disk drives are just kind of getting phased out with modern technology. I can't even remember the last game I bought on disc. Probably Master Chief Collection. But that was when it first came out.
I don't have that. Hold on.
Yeah, but see, I like playing games that are on disc because my old games are on disc, and I like being able to play them.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's more of
No, see, I just liked having the option of playing my old games, basically.
Emulator? Question mark. But cracked download.
Illegal. Sorry, that's not legal. So.
It's not, but you already paid for it. Like, you already paid for it, and you were gonna play it on the exact same platform in the exact same method you were going to. That's kind of where I
start. Somebody who emulates Pokemon games to mod them. You got to be very careful because a lot of them are just viruses.
Well, obviously, you're supposed to do it from a credible source, but I'm not very good about that. Anyways, moving on. Unless we got anything else we'd like to add.
I think I would just get a new console solely for the fact that either way, eventually new games are going to be coming out on the new console. Eventually, the hardware is just going to be phased out. So right now I have the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Eventually games aren't going to be made for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, so I'm going to have to get a new console.
Yep. And...
Yes and no, though, because the if it's all used in the same online system, then the only thing preventing you from playing a newer game would be the graphics capability and how much information your device could even run. Would be the only things preventing you from playing them.
Correct, but an Xbox One is eventually just going to... They will stop... Just because it has Universal Windows Platform doesn't mean that you won't have the hardware. It's like games on Steam. Like, you can put Crysis 3 on a game from, like, 20 years ago. It just won't run very well.
But that's what I mean. I mean, the only thing that's stopping you is the graphics capabilities and the ability of the device to run it, basically. So there is not as much of a need to switch machines as there is with like the PlayStation, where they'll just flat out make it not compatible.
You got to upgrade. All right, Oculus headsets will require Facebook login starting in October, unless you already have a login for Oculus, at which point it'll keep working until 2023. Excuse me, Facebook? Why? Just
what?
Yeah, if you have an Oculus headset and if you buy an Oculus headset in November, you have to have a Facebook account.
And the reasoning for that is because.
Yep. This is.
Considering it was running perfectly fine without it, the reasoning for this is because Facebook.
Yep. So.
Is it kind of like the YouTube Google Plus thing, where they just want to
know what you're doing when you're doing it? Probably yes.
So Facebook has been rather open about the fact that they collect almost all of your data when you're using a Oculus. So this comes as no surprise to me. It's a shame.
Oh, so this is just being upfront about them collecting all of your data,
yep.
or
now
is
it's just
Facebook account to link it to?
Yep. Cool. Let's jump around a bit. Let's jump to Steam users want Valve to extend refund playtime for window for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, Microsoft Flight Simulator, the initial download is about 600 megabytes. Then you get to a launcher, and then at the launcher, it's either a 90 to 150 gigabytes. But while you're running the launcher, it counts as playtime. So that means you could be downloading the game for 10 hours. You can, after it's done downloading for 10 hours, you are now out of the return window of 2 hours. So you're stuck with the game. This is pretty bad. I looked on the reviews on the Steam page just to make sure that people were upset about this. There were two kinds of reviews: people that were upset that they had to download it for so long, and people that were airline pilots that said the plane's handled too weirdly. But I'm willing to bet that in a week we will get some kind of response from Valve, whether that's just them extending the release time or them coming with a more permanent solution for games that use launchers, but we shall see.
Now, I think I understand why Microsoft Flight Simulator does that, though. And that's just the 600 megabyte is just to download the launcher and the program, or the the program necessary to get the information off of the map that they use, so that that way they can update their map on a single server and send that to everybody, basically.
Yep.
And the million-year download from the launcher is just to get the map onto your device.
Correct. Yes, but it's the fact that game launchers count as playtime when they really shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think I hope Valve will make an intelligent decision here and somehow bake in that, hey, you only get playtime when you're playing the game instead of when you use the launcher, but...
Because, yeah, this seems like a little-known, or maybe it's well-known, I don't know, way for a company to cheat some money out of a consumer.
Yeah.
As early on, you could just make a really long launcher and just make money off of that and no one can return it.
I feel like it was more like an accident. They didn't. I don't think
I think it was an accident. I'm saying this could be used maliciously.
Yes, and this has happened before. There are games that I think, to give a bad example, Smite, I believe, is the exact same way, where you just download the launcher from Steam.
But Smite is free, isn't it?
It is, but that's why I said it was a really bad example. But there are games like that where you download just the launcher and then you download the games from the launcher. But and then we'll jump to this mildly happy topic. A typo created a 212-story monolith in the new flight simulator game. It's over Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, it's just kind of a weird, stupid.
It's just
tower.
like a dinky building accidentally became 212 stories after someone in the program that it uses, OpenStreetMap, someone accidentally said 212 and not instead of probably 12.
Yep.
And because of that, the program automatically created a building that tall. And it's funny because it's going to be a permanent feature to the game. If it's deleted, people are just going to mod it back in.
Yep.
So it's great that this has become part of the game's history already.
All right, TikTok or SpaceX?
I do appreciate the fact that it looks like in the image for that thing, it looks like the plane is just gonna straight up fly into that building.
Well, the goal is to
Wow,
land on
cool.
top of it, I guess.
No,
so.
I know, like that's what I was assuming, is that it was just like a GTA, see if you can stick the landing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And apparently, yes, you can, but only if you have great skill. Because unlike GTA, if you hit the ground too hard and your landing gear fails, it's considered a failure and you have to restart. You can't just crash the plane on the roof.
TikTok or SpaceX? Which do we want to talk about next? We're at 57 minutes.
Let's do TikTok.
All right. TikTok launches a website all about how they're not a security issue. On there they have an op-ed from the New York Times where they talk about how the CIA has stated, hey, TikTok isn't actually a national security threat because they haven't handed off any data yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that just means that they do have data, and the Chinese government has decided at the moment to not strong-arm it out of them.
Correct. And it's a bunch of things saying, hey, the U.S. shouldn't ban TikTok. It's just a lot of stuff. It's a bunch of news sites, basically, and they've got a security roadmap out there, which I tried to look at, but like it wasn't very interesting. It was pretty anemic. Yeah. It's them doing a last-ditch effort to try and save TikTok from being sold. Last week, Melly, you asked who would I prefer to have to buy TikTok. I would prefer that TikTok remain independent, personally. If it got switched off from freaking ByteDance to, like, let's say Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO, quit Twitter, sold all his stocks, and started becoming TikTok CEO or whatever. That would be awesome to me, because then we'd have more competition. I'm not too thrilled about the fact that now even Oracle, who makes a crappy web browser, is interested in it. I don't like the idea of more monopolies, because we have learned about time and time again on this podcast. So, yeah.
Luckily, though, hopefully, though, the legislation that affects one monopoly will leak into the affect others.
We can only hope. We can only hope. Yeah. So, all right. Finally, SpaceX. This is what I'm angry about. SpaceX has what is called Starlink, which is where they're putting something like 10,000 satellites in orbit or something like that, with the intent of getting internet all over the world. They permission to launch 12,000 satellites. Speeds initially are pretty crap. They're nowhere close to what Elon Musk said they would be. No surprise there. Their ping is really terrible, so don't expect to be gaming off of it anytime soon. But the thing that upsets me is constantly scientists have brought up the fact that there's a lot of space junk up in space. And the more of it we put up there, the more likely we are to just seal ourselves onto Earth and not be able to put anything up into outer space. And 12,000 satellites are just going to be more space junk.
And it's close orbit space junk,
Yep.
meaning that it flies by a lot quicker than far away space junk, which tends to be more spaced out as well.
Also, it ruins the night sky. As someone who likes to take photography pictures of stars and whatnot, this is upsetting.
However, I will also put up a counterpoint. Having internet access throughout the world greatly improves certain scientific fields. So, for instance, you could make sensors that are smaller than they would be nowadays, because you wouldn't have to have so much of a you might be able to send the signal instead to one of these satellites as opposed to sending it to a closer area.
So, have you seen the satellite dish that you need to use Starlink with?
I have not.
They're pretty darn big.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
All right, take that back then. In that case, useless for science. Throw them away.
Yeah, so you would still need some kind of satellite telemetry thing, which would be a pain in the butt. But yeah.
I mean, I guess there's still the fact that you could get internet anywhere. Just you wouldn't be able to use them for anything we can't do now. It's just you now have internet.
Yeah. So not much more to say about that.
I personally think that is probably a good thing.
What if I can now go and put in my selfie on top of Mount Everest now? It'll only take you like an extra 30 minutes, but you'll still get the selfie directly off of Mount Everest while you're on Mount Everest.
That way you can take the selfie, send it to your family, and then die on Mount Everest all in one go instead of having to have your body be recovered before they get the selfie.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So you say
People
this is
don't
a
die
good
on
thing,
Everest
Melly?
anymore.
Yeah.
So you could be like, I made it to the top, just didn't make it back down, you know?
Yeah, I like this because it said that if their main focus is like families from rural areas, which like basically right now I'm just thinking of like my grandma lives out in the country, and so she can't get cable, and she right now has to rely on, it's sort of a dish, but basically what it is like a little thing you have to put in the window, and then it sends a signal to a tower in like the nearby city, and like so it doesn't go straight up into like a satellite, but it goes to like a nearby tower.
Yep. Basically
So
5G.
her internet sucks.
So I think the better replacement to SpaceX is legislation that guarantees everyone in America a decent broadband connection. Where how back however many years ago there was legislation where it was everyone in America can get a telephone line for $25 or however much money it was. It was no matter where you are, no matter where you live, no matter how much it costs the telephone company to put it in, you get a telephone line for $25. Plain and simple. I think it would be great if we had something like that in America where it is everyone gets a internet connection of 100 megs down, 100 megs up, or whatever, for like $100. Done. You have that installed. It is a public service, basically. That is what I think should be the alternative to this, because this is going to screw over scientists trying to study stars and whatnot. If you're using like the Keck and whatnot, like any ground-based telescopes, it's going to screw us long-term for getting stuff out of space, getting stuff out into space, and I think it's going to screw us, and it's going to screw photographers like me that hate these giant white lines across the night sky when I'm trying to photograph stars.
All right, but let's think about also, this is not just legislation in the U.S. This is like worldwide internet access.
Yeah, but we can help other places as well. It doesn't. I'm citing things in America, but we can do this elsewhere.
It's the savior of the world kind of thing, as opposed to congratulations. There's a bunch of satellites you can now access.
I was more thinking.
I totally understand. Like,
I get the space thing, but yeah, I'm with.
I'll believe
I'm with Melly on this and saying I think it's gross, but more useful than just the space thing. I feel like this could be modifiable to make it less in the way, but in the current state that it's in, I feel like it's still useful in its situation, or in the way it is, with the slow internet and a million satellites everywhere. And if the sacrifice is photography of space is a little bit worse.
And we have the potential to be trapped on Earth for all of eternity.
I mean, if you think about it, we're already trapped on Earth. We're not getting out in our lifetime.
Yeah, so let's screw over every future generation because we
take
want
down satellites. Bagel.
Alternatively, though, just do what America's best at and blow it up.
So that is the issue: is when you blow something up, you get thousands or millions, like, of tiny little particles, and it doesn't matter that they're tiny. They still move incredibly fast. It's basically you create bullets that are faster and faster and that are just insanely fast.
Okay, so what it sounds like was we need some way of capturing satellites, which there's ways of docking with things flying around at millions of miles an hour. So it shouldn't be too different to figure out a way to capture things like that.
So the biggest issue you have is if these things get hit and they break up. Then you have just millions of pieces everywhere. This is an issue that has happened many times in the past with satellites, where you've exploded satellites, and now there's huge swaths where you can't launch anything because if you get hit, you're screwed. So that is the insanely real threat.
That satellites tend to be around, going around.
Hey, Bagelmode here. So Magic and I get into a fight over what a different kind of orbit is called. We keep trying to use the word vertical and horizontal orbits, and we're getting each other confused. And we're trying to say sun synchronous or polar orbits. So I'm just going to cut this entire section because it's just us getting confused and frustrated with each other, and I'll just skip right to the end. So, yeah, enjoy. Yeah, oh well. Alright, I think we're done here. Anything else we'd like to add before we go?
No, I can't think of anything. Thanks for having me on.
I hope you
Thanks
get better
for
microphone
contributing as much as you did.
Alright, and with that, good night. Bye.